So it's a conversation heard around the world. The Chiefs' Tyreek Hill talking with his fiancee Crystal Espinal about the child abuse investigation regarding their 3-year-old son. And that exclusive audio heard right here on KCTV5 means the DA is taking a second look at the case. We start with a live look out at the Kansas City Metro tonight, just hours away from a winter weather advisory. Another lawsuit has been settled in the duck boat tragedy at Table Rock Lake. 17 people died when the boat sank during stormy weather last July. Also breaking right now, Kansas City police are on the scene of a homicide where 2 people were killed. A confrontation over a handicapped parking spot in St. Charles, Missouri led to a shooting that left 1 person in critical condition. Independence police are asking for your help to find this man right here. That's 32-year-old Stephen Maber. He recently moved to Independence from Hawaii to care for his father, but friends and family say they haven't heard from him since November 22nd last year. And baseball officially starts later this month, and the Royals are ready. They unveiled a new streetcar wrap today to celebrate the upcoming season. It's been a whirlwind few hours for the Chiefs. Adam Schefter at ESPN reports the team has signed safety Tyrann Mathieu. Alarming numbers from the Kansas City Health Department. 1 serious sexually transmitted infection is rising fast in the metro. A 3-year-old boy is recovering after investigators say he may have accidentally shot himself at a home in Atchison, Kansas. A local man will get $300,000 in a settlement with the city of KCMO. He was hit by a car near 63rd and Brookside back in 2016. The man argues the intersection was not safe for pedestrians at the time when he was hit. Guess which one they say made the cheese taste the best?
Hip hop.
Hip hop.
Yeah.
Tribe Called Quest made the cheese taste the best.
I'll be darned. Yeah, well, I may just have to play it inside my refrigerator then, and
right.
my cheese tastes
That's
better.
Weird, though, to play music and it changes it.
For cheese? Yeah,
right.
Who'd have thought?
Thank you so much, guys, for joining us tonight, and we'll see you over on KCTV5 at 10. That car that sheriff's deputies were chasing came right into this yard. There's still fresh tire tracks here, and it ended right here by this tree. And you see that pink dot? That's where police say one of the bullets landed. We're at 63rd Street and 435 right here. You can see this is where they have it blocked off while they try and investigate to figure out exactly what happened during that possible rolling shooting. Now, they do know things ended right down there. Farouk is the world's tallest water slide, and it was once a must ride for thrill seekers, but now many people can't stand the sight of it since that 10-year-old boy died there a couple years ago. The lack of rain has not been good for the crops here this year. Some of these sunflowers are just about at my knee, while others are barely coming above my ankle. And I'm 6 feet, and they're supposed to grow about 5 feet tall. So I asked people on Twitter what they thought about the new policy, and right now we have about 60% of people saying it doesn't bother me, and about 40% says that they won't tailgate anymore. But you can definitely guarantee that this will be a talker during the game when the Chiefs play here at home on Thursday. Earlier this morning, there was water about this high and 2 people trapped inside, but thankfully, there was a happy ending. Cold temperatures are taking a toll on the search and rescue team. They just set up this blue inflatable tent to keep themselves warm, and they're out here because that SUV went into that pond. This is what the house looks like after the fire. Neighbors say the fire department had to run the hose from the back of the yard all the way over to the next street because the nearest fire hydrant didn't work. Farouk is the world's tallest water slide, and it was once a must ride for thrill seekers, but now many people can't stand the sight of it since that 10-year-old boy died there a couple years ago.
It bring up the way that little boy got killed, and I didn't like it.
That's Vincent Martin. He works at Arthur Bryant's down the road and says he's reminded every morning he drives by that 10-year-old Caleb Schwab died on the Farouk water slide at Schlitterbahn a couple summers ago. And he's not the only one.
I've never been there before. I was going to go to ride a slide until that happened.
Stanley Dempster is a mechanical engineer. He says he and a company he worked for reviewed drawings for Schlitterbahn before the park even opened.
That thing was bad the day it was built. You've seen the YouTube of the rafts flying off.
This is the video he's talking about. It was taken before the water slide was open to the public.
You don't have to inspect it. By its very nature, it's dangerous. When you go over that hill and you pull negative G's, you're going to fly off.
In a Facebook post, Schlitterbahn says preliminary work to tear down the water slide began weeks ago. A contractor has been on site since Thursday, and this crane was also delivered. Now people will finally have an answer to this question they've been asking for a couple years now.
Well, when are they going to tear the slide down? That's really the thought I have.
And a second crane has since gone up today, but employees at Schlitterbahn say they've been working with the courts to tear the slide down since 2016, and they're just grateful that they have since gotten that okay. And they also say that it should take about 4 weeks to get the Baruch down as long as weather cooperates. Live in KCK, Kelly Taylor, KCTV 5 News. Now, this is a completely different scene here at Coach's Bar and Grill. You can see earlier this morning there was water about this high and 2 people trapped inside, but thankfully there was a happy ending. Cheers and applause as the owners of Coach's Bar and Grill were brought to dry land after rising waters rushed into their restaurant, forcing them to scramble to safety. Kansas City firefighters used a boat to get to the building and cut a hole in the roof to rescue them.
We heard the wall break and the water came in, and we hopped on the bar, and we realized that that wasn't going to cut it. The bar was shaking. So we hopped on a piece of a tall cooler, a beer cooler. We realized that that wasn't going to do it. So we got the ceiling tiles out of the way and we're in the ceiling.
Chrissy Carley says she and Brian Darby waited a couple hours in a hot, dark area.
It just happened so quickly. The front walls caved in and just water gushed in on us, and it was like, whoa.
At one point, they didn't think they would survive.
We were scared in there. I've never been in something like that. It was stupid, that's for sure. Trying to save property.
We were pretty scared there for a while. We were texting our loved ones.
The rescue was especially emotional for Darby's family, who was just hit by a tragedy a short time ago when his father, Mike, was murdered. He was in contact with his sisters the entire time, and they had already started saying their goodbyes.
We were terrified, honestly. We just lost our dad, and I couldn't fathom losing our brother, too. It was awful. It was absolutely awful. So we are so grateful that he is here with us and that Chrissy is here as well.
Brian Darby did apologize to friends and family this morning for putting them through this. As for the restaurant, owners say they don't know what's next. Now, Darby and Carly both say that they are very appreciative of the firefighters who rescued them. In Kansas City, Kelly Taylor, KCTV 5 News. It's not something you hear every day. Now, that man also threw a log, and it's still right here in his driveway. It all went down on 90th Street in Lenexa, and the addresses are very similar. They're just off by one number, so it's a mistake any of us could have made. Mary Teresa Kissel and her husband Joseph were waiting on an Amazon delivery Monday, but when she met the delivery woman at her car, she wasn't expecting what she heard.
She said, "Your neighbor just threw a log at me because I delivered it to the wrong house."
This is Mary Teresa's 69-year-old neighbor, Don Heim. He's charged with 3 counts of aggravated assault, criminal threat, and criminal damage to property, all because he threw a log, and that's not it.
He had a gun, and he was pointing it at me, and he said,
She says he pointed it at her and the delivery driver. Joseph hurried outside to help his wife get in. They called police and went into lockdown.
It was terrifying, and my kids that's all they've talked about all day today.
She says police stopped traffic to the area and several officers were called in to arrest Heim. Now she and her husband are trying to find the right words to help their children work through this.
We're still trying to process through what to do there. I mean, for now, it's don't go outside without mom and dad.
And police discovered that it was a BB gun after they arrested Heim, and he's expected to be back in court next week. Live in Lenexa, Kelly Taylor, KCTV 5 News. A normal day at work for the guys at Gravatt Waste Solutions took a left when a woman frantically began screaming for help to come to this yard. Justin Hamilton and Craig Lingholm work at Gravatt Waste Solutions. They were finishing up their last stop at the end of the cul-de-sac on Northeast First Terrace Thursday when a woman came out of nowhere screaming for help.
I kind of saw her out of the corner of my eyes and kind of waving her hands and running up the street talking about, please, 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 you know, help, help.
She took them to this backyard where they found her 70-year-old neighbor trapped underneath a riding lawnmower.
We didn't want to move it at first, you know, to avoid if it had hit a major artery or anything like that.
This is Judy Scott's daughter, Christy. She says her mom was backing up on the mower. She hit a rock, then it flipped on top of her.
This right here, it's like the deck raises and lowers the deck of the mower, but this went through her ankle.
She says the cut was so deep it almost went completely through her ankle.
I was afraid when we pulled the lawnmower off her and that came out that she was going to possibly really bleed bad. So I was preparing to put a tourniquet above her knee in case that happened.
The guys from Gravatt kept Judy calm until police and first responders showed up. Christy says Judy had surgery and she'll be okay. She also sent this text message to show her gratitude to the guys who helped her mom.
Our whole family is now crying in gratitude for your company and all that you did for her.
And Christy says her mom is done cutting the grass after this accident, but that should be okay because the guys over at Gravatt, they say they'll take care of their lawn service for a year. In Blue Springs, Kelly Taylor, KCTV 5 News. Depending on the type of train, it could go anywhere from 50 to 75 miles per hour, and they can't stop right away. Sometimes it takes up to a mile before they come to a complete stop. At most railroad crossings, you know there's a train near. There's bells, lights, and gates to alert you. At the very least, there should be a sign warning there's more than one track.
Half of our crashes that we've had so far this year have occurred at crossings that have active warning devices.
This is Tim Hull. He works with Missouri Operation Lifesaver, a safety education organization. He says this year there have been 30 incidents at railroad crossings in the state. 8 of those were deadly, and there have been 13 injuries, not counting today's. This morning, a couple of Liberty City employees were crossing a private track at Old 210 Highway. Police say they waited for a westbound train to clear, began to go across the tracks, and they were struck by a train going east. And this is a difficult investigation for Liberty Police.
Coworkers are often considered part of your family, so it's going to be very difficult for those who know these people in the accident, but we're hoping for the best for them.
Both workers were taken to the hospital. Sadly, 26-year-old Cameron Leeds died. His coworker, who was also seriously hurt, is in stable condition. And Hull says these kinds of crashes affect a lot of people, including the people operating the trains. Missouri Operation Lifesaver says every 3 hours somewhere in the U.S., a vehicle or person is hit by a train. So it's important to be alert at railroad crossings. If you see tracks, assume there could be a train. In Liberty, Kelly Taylor, KCTV 5 News.